Imagine waking up one morning, walking into your kitchen, and realizing the love of your life, the woman you built everything with, just sold the house you're standing in without telling you. Every penny gone, the deed already transferred, her phone dead, closet empty, and a single note on the counter that says, I never loved you. This actually happened to a man named Mark in 2022. By the time the sun went down that same day, his entire world was stolen. But what Mark did next turned him into a legend people still talk about. Because sometimes, the sweetest revenge isn't loud. It's silent. It's legal. And it destroys everything the betrayer ever cared about. Forever. This is that story. And trust me, you won't believe what happened next. Mark and Sarah met in college 23 years ago. He was the quiet guy with the big dreams. She was the girl who lit up every room she walked into. Everyone said they were perfect together. By 30, Mark had built a construction company from nothing. Long days, longer nights, every dollar straight back into the business. Sarah stayed home, designed the houses he built, and posted the perfect pictures online. White kitchen, golden retriever, kids laughing in the backyard. Their house sat on 5 acres outside Nashville. Custom built, paid off, worth $3.8 million the day they finished it. Friends begged for invitations to their summer parties. Sarah would smile, pour the wine, and tell everyone, we're just so blessed. Mark would stand behind her, arm around her waist, and believe every word. They had 2 kids, Emma and Liam. Emma played travel soccer. Liam built Lego cities taller than he was. Friday nights were family movie nights with homemade pizza. Sunday mornings were pancakes and church. From the outside, it looked like the kind of life people put on vision boards. Mark worked 60, sometimes 70 hours a week, so Sarah never had to. She said she hated the idea of daycare. She wanted to be there for every school play, every dentist appointment. Mark loved that about her. He told her 1,000 times, you're the heart of this family. I just pay the bills. Every anniversary, he surprised her. Year 15, a new diamond band. Year 18, the trip to Italy she always wanted. Year 20, the kitchen remodel she saw on Pinterest. He never said no. He never looked at the price tag. Because Sarah was happy. And when Sarah was happy, the whole house felt warm. People online called them relationship goals. Their Christmas cards were legendary. Mark's mom kept every single one on her fridge and told anyone who would listen, that's my son and his beautiful family. Even when the company got tight during the pandemic, Mark took out a second mortgage on the land to keep everyone paid. Sarah hugged him and cried and said, I married the best man in the world. That was the life everyone saw, the life Mark thought would last forever. But behind every perfect picture, there's a shadow nobody notices until it's too late. It started small. Little things Mark told himself didn't matter. Sarah began staying up late on her phone. When he walked into the room, she'd flip it face down and smile too fast. He asked once, everything okay? She laughed, said, just scrolling Pinterest, babe. Go back to sleep. Then the password on her phone changed. She said the kids were grabbing it too much. Mark nodded. He trusted her. She started going to book club every Thursday night. Always the same 3 friends. She'd come home after midnight, cheeks flushed, smelling like expensive cocktails. Mark never drank on weeknights. He had early site visits. He'd kiss her hello and taste someone else's cologne on her neck. He told himself it was one of the husbands. The credit card statements stopped coming to the house. Sarah said she went paperless to save trees. Mark was too tired to argue. She bought a new wardrobe, designer bags, shoes he'd never seen. When he asked, she said, I deserve to feel pretty after 20 years and 2 kids, don't I? He said, of course, bought her flowers the next day. Then the bigger lies. She told him she needed to find herself and started weekend yoga retreats. Left Friday morning, back Sunday night. No kids allowed. Mark stayed home, made chicken nuggets, helped with homework, and waited for his wife to come back refreshed. One night, Emma asked, why does mommy need new friends all of a sudden? Mark didn't have an answer. He found a second phone hidden in her gym bag. Burner. Cheap. Only one number saved, listed as K. He never turned it on. He put it back exactly where he found it and pretended he saw nothing. The final red flag came 6 weeks before everything exploded. Sarah sat him down, tears in her eyes, and said, "I think we should sell the house. Downsize? Start fresh." Mark's stomach dropped. This house was their legacy, their blood and sweat. He asked why. She said the upkeep was too much, the kids were growing up, maybe they'd travel instead. Mark said he'd think about it. That night he lay awake listening to her breathe and felt the first real fear he'd ever had in 23 years. He still didn't want to believe it. He told himself, marriages go through seasons. He booked them a surprise weekend in Asheville to reconnect. She canceled 2 days before. Said one of the kids had a fever. The kid was fine. That was the last time Mark asked questions out loud. From that night on, he watched, and he started keeping notes. Monday morning, October 17th, 2022. Mark woke up at 5:47 a.m. like always. Sarah was already gone from bed. He walked downstairs to make coffee. The house felt wrong. Too quiet. No dog barking, no kids stirring, just silence. He saw the envelope on the kitchen island, his name written in Sarah's perfect handwriting. He opened it. Inside was a single sheet of paper and a set of keys he didn't recognize. The note read, "Mark, by the time you read this, the house is no longer ours. I sold it last Friday. Cash deal. Closed in 4 days. 3.8 million wired to an account you will never find. I've been planning this for 3 years. I'm sorry it had to be this way, but I'm finally free. Don't look for me. You won't find me. Sarah." Mark stood there. The paper shook in his hand. He ran upstairs, her closet, empty. Jewelry box, gone. The kids' rooms, untouched. She left the children. He called her phone, straight to voicemail. New message. The number you have reached is no longer in service. He called the title company. The woman on the phone sounded nervous. "Yes, Mr. Thompson. The sale closed Friday. Your wife signed. Power of attorney was on file from 2019. You did co-sign that document, correct?" He had, years ago. She brought it home with a stack of tax papers. Said it was just in case he ever got hurt on a job site. He signed without reading. He drove to the bank. Joint accounts, drained to pennies. Her separate account he never knew existed. 3.4 million freshly deposited, then gone 20 minutes later. He came home and sat on the floor of the empty bedroom. The dog walked over and licked his face. Mark cried for the first time since he was 9 years old. Then he found the second envelope taped under the kitchen drawer. Inside was a USB drive and another note. "If you're watching this, I'm already gone. Everything you think you know about the last 3 years is a lie. Enjoy the video." K! He plugged it into his laptop. 47 minutes of footage. Hidden camera in their bedroom. Sarah and a man Mark had never seen before. Hotel rooms. The new Porsche in the garage that Mark thought was a company lease. Sarah laughing about how easy it was to fool him, calling him the walking ATM. The man on the video was 31, name Kyle. Personal trainer from the yoga studio. They had a daughter together, 2 years old, born while Sarah was on one of her retreats. The last clip, Sarah packing the closet 2 nights ago. Kyle asks, "What about the kids?" Sarah shrugs. "They'll slow us down. He'll take good care of them. He always does." Mark closed the laptop. The room started spinning. 23 years, gone in 4 days. He didn't scream. He didn't throw anything. He just sat there until the sun went down. Then he opened a new document on his computer and started typing. That night, Mark stopped being the nice guy everyone knew. He became something else. Mark didn't sleep for 4 days. He moved like a ghost through the house that wasn't his anymore. The new owners were already scheduled to take possession in 2 weeks. He had 14 days to disappear or fight. He chose to fight. First, he protected the kids. He called his lawyer, filed emergency custody papers. and got a court order freezing any attempt by Sarah to take Emma and Liam out of state. The judge signed it the same day after seeing the video. Then he went dark. He told no one what he was doing. Not his mom, not his best friend, not even the kids. He kissed them goodbye every morning, dropped them at school, and worked until 3 a.m. He still had the company. It was worth 8 figures on paper, but Sarah had drained every liquid account. So Mark sold his 2 work trucks, cashed out his 401k, and took a hardcore loan against future contracts. $900,000 in cash within 10 days. He kept it in a safe in his office. He hired the most expensive private investigator in Nashville, ex-FBI. Guy's name was Cole. Mark handed him the USB drive and said, "Find them. Find every dollar. I don't care what it costs." Cole found them in 48 hours. Sarah and Kyle were living in a rented villa in Costa Rica under fake names. The $3.8 million was already split across 6 offshore accounts. They had bought a bar on the beach and were throwing parties every night. Mark sat in his dark office one night and realized something ice cold. Sarah's biggest weakness had always been her image, the perfect wife, the perfect mom, the influencer with 1.2 million followers who called her goals. She left the kids because they didn't fit the new fantasy. That was going to be her downfall. He created anonymous Gmail accounts, dozens of them. He built a website on the dark web that looked exactly like a normal blog, but only certain links would ever go live. He wrote the entire story in third person. Every detail, every screenshot, every frame from the hidden camera video, edited just enough to keep it YouTube safe but still unmistakable. He called the site The Truth About Sarah Thompson. Then he waited for the perfect moment. He set a countdown on his phone. 30 days until the new owners moved in. 30 days to make sure Sarah would never enjoy a single dollar. Every night he added more evidence. Bank records Cole pulled. Photos of the secret daughter. Voice messages where Sarah laughed about leaving the kids. He watermarked nothing. When it went live, there would be no taking it down. On day 25, Cole called. "They're coming back to the States next week, closing on a condo in Miami with part of the money." Mark smiled for the first time in weeks. He was ready. The nice guy was dead. The strategist had taken over, and the next phase was going to be beautiful. Day 27. Sarah and Kyle landed at Miami International, smiling, tanned, holding hands like newlyweds. They had no idea the storm was already over them. Mark never left Nashville. He didn't need to. He just pressed one button. At 9:03 a.m. Eastern, the site went live. Not on the dark web anymore. Mirrored on 10 different normal domains. Title in bold red letters, "The Real Sarah Thompson, the wife who sold her family's dream home and ran." Within 30 minutes, the first post hit Reddit. R True Crime. R Pro Revenge. R Amy the Asshole. R Public Freakout. Screenshots, bank records, the hidden camera clips, carefully blurred for rules, but impossible to deny. The thread blew up. 100K upvotes in 4 hours. By noon, Sarah's old influencer accounts were flooded. People who once called her Queen now called her every name in the book. Her sponsor emails started bouncing. The activewear company she partnered with for 6 figures dropped her in writing on Twitter. Mark watched the numbers climb from his office. Calm. Cold. Then the first twist hit, something even he didn't see coming. Cole called at 3:17 p.m. "Mark, you need you to sit down. Sarah isn't just with Kyle. She's married to him, legally, in Costa Rica, 3 weeks ago. The marriage certificate just surfaced." Mark stared at the wall. Bigamy. A felony in Tennessee. The internet lost its mind all over again. Now it wasn't just betrayal, it was a crime. Reporters started calling the house that wasn't his anymore. Local news vans parked outside the gates. Mark gave no comment. He didn't have to. The evidence spoke for itself. Sarah tried to go live on Instagram from the Miami condo to clear her name. 7,000 people in the chat within seconds. Every comment a knife. She ended the live in tears after 4 minutes. Mark still wasn't done. Phase 1 had only warmed the engine. He opened the countdown app again. 3 days left until the new owners moved in. He looked at the kids sleeping down the hall and whispered to himself, Phase 2 is going to hurt worse. Mark never raised his voice. He never posted a single word himself. He just made sure the right people got the right files at the right time. Day 29. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Nashville received an anonymous 47-page packet. Marriage certificates, bank wires, offshore accounts, proof of bigamy and wire fraud across state lines, federal crime, no statute of limitations. Same day, Costa Rican immigration got a tip about Kyle's fake passport. He entered the country as Kyle Morgan, but his real last name was Reed, with an outstanding warrant in Texas for felony theft. By evening, both Sarah and Kyle were on no-fly lists. Day 30. The new owners arrived to move in. Mark was already gone. He left the house spotless, a single envelope on the kitchen island addressed to Sarah. Inside, one printed photo of their wedding day and a post-it note that read, "Enjoy the beach house you'll never live in." That night, federal agents knocked on the Miami condo door. Sarah opened it smiling, thinking it was a delivery. Handcuffs clicked before she finished saying hello. Kyle tried to run out the back. He didn't make it 10 steps. The nuclear twist nobody saw coming dropped the next morning. Cole had kept digging. Turns out, the $3.8 million wasn't the only money Sarah stole. She had quietly siphoned $2.1 million more from Mark's company over 3 years. Fake invoices, fake vendors, all of it. Total theft, $5.9 million. Mark never reported that money missing. He let the feds find it themselves because every dollar traced back to Sarah's signature. RICO charges got added. Racketeering, 10 to 20 years, federal prison. And here's the part that broke the internet. Mark had already filed civil suit the week before. Because of the way the fraud was structured, every single asset Sarah and Kyle ever touched became his to seize. The Miami condo, the Costa Rican bar, the offshore accounts, everything. One judge, one signature. All of it now legally belonged to Mark for the benefit of Emma and Liam. Sarah's last public photo is still online. Orange jumpsuit, no makeup, staring straight into the camera like she finally understood what she did. Sarah took a plea deal. 12 years, no parole for 8. Kyle got 15. Their secret daughter went to Kyle's parents in Texas. Sarah hasn't seen her since the day she was arrested. Mark sold every single thing they ever bought with his money. The Miami condo, the beach bar, even Sarah's designer bags. Every dollar went into trust funds for Emma and Liam that neither parent can ever touch. He bought a smaller house 10 minutes from the kids' school. Same golden retriever. Same Friday pizza nights. Just quieter, stronger. The website is still up. Over 40 million views now. People still send Mark messages and thank you for showing us monsters don't win. He never answered a single interview, never wrote a book, never started a podcast. He just went back to work, coached Little League, and tucked his kids in every night. 1 year later, a reporter finally tracked him down at a soccer game. Asked the question everyone wanted to know. After everything she did, do you hate her? Mark looked at the field where Emma was scoring a goal, smiled, and said the line that lives in millions of comments to this day. I don't hate her. I just made sure the life she stole from my children became the life she can never have again. He walked away. Camera kept rolling. That clip alone has 200 million views. Some people call it revenge. Mark calls it consequences. And somewhere in a federal prison visiting room, Sarah Thompson still sits alone every Sunday, staring at the same 4 walls, knowing exactly what it feels like when the person you destroyed chooses to rebuild everything without you. If you think karma should always hit this hard, smash that like button right now and drop your own story in the comments. I read every single one. See you in the next one.